I haven't done one of these Omega videos in a while. I thought it would be kind of festive to do Omega Dan since he just came out in SF5. This version seems to be a prototype for his SF5 release, but it has a lot of really unique things which didn't make the cut. Most of his normals look pretty similar to his Ultra version. The big difference is all of them have startup, recovery, and hitbox improvements to bring them more in line with Shoto normals. So he feels more like a real Shoto now, and not just a pretend one. A few of them are really different. Close short looks pretty strange. Like they cut off the whole recovery animation just to make it recover faster. It's +8 on hit, +5 on block, so you get some nice links out of it. Close strong is +8 as well. It's his main confirm and goes into low strong, low forward, and low fierce. Close forward now cancels on both hits. If you get both, it's the same power as crouch fierce. Though crouch fierce is a somewhat better ender anyway due to more hit stun and less pushback. If you cancel on the first hit, you lose a bit of damage, but the pushback is much lower, so it's necessary for some of Dan's combos. Far forward is also now 2 hits. The first hit cancels and it's pretty fast, so you can use it to pick up certain combos. But almost nothing combos from it besides EX moves. Far strong also now cancels. But again, you often have nothing good to go into. Close Fierce has a new animation. It's much faster, and you have some new links into it. Dan's old Close Fierce is now Towards Fierce, and it's an overhead. It's pretty fast, and hard to react to. Crouch Fierce looks the same, but it's somewhat faster with a better hitbox. It's 6 frames now, and works cleanly as an anti-air. Dan's back roundhouse is now close roundhouse, and can only be done next to the opponent. It's +6, so you can still link out of it. On mid-air hit, it creates a very workable juggle state. Good after focus backdash. And is an anti-air. Dan has a few other little frame data changes that give him some new links. There's a couple other mechanic changes for Dan that are hard to mention elsewhere. After blocking something, hitting 3 punches gives you a push block. It's throwable, I guess, but it's almost impossible to chase, and gets Dan out of almost any frame trap safely. He had this in Alpha 3, actually. When doing forward dashes, you can now cancel into normals, like Oily Hakan. This gives Dan some really weird run pressure, whereas dashes are hard to check. It also gives him some cool counter hit stuff. His jumping and crouching taunts now do 0 damage instead of 1. Sounds like a downgrade, but now they add no scaling to combos, so they're actually somewhat better. Dan has a few new special moves. Quarter circle back punch is Don Retsuken. A parody of Ryo's Zon Retsuken. Dan got this move again in SF5, but to my knowledge, it debuted here in Omega. The light version is the fastest, and combos from lights. It also has a bit more juggle potential than the other versions. The medium version combos from medium normals. And the heavy version combos from heavies. The medium and heavy versions have a tag on hit at the end. All versions have armor on startup, like a guard point in KOF. This helps them do things like anti-air. It's not frame 1 armor though. On hit, all versions have ADC for every hit. You could use this to extend combos, but the damage is garbage. On block, none of them FADC on any hit. Except the final hit of the medium and EX versions. Generally speaking, this is a good combo ender, but it has issues with falling out at range. All versions combo to super, and generally it's Dan's best special for going into super. But even the super cancels can be really finicky, which is annoying. This can be mitigated by super canceling earlier in the special, but then you lose damage. It's possible to use a focus attack to get a Crumple Ultra 1, but it's very precise and heavily scaled. The EX version is about the speed of the medium version with a bit more range, and it launches. Mid-screen, the only juggle is into EX Dan kicks, which seems to be Dan's optimal 2-bar route. I can't quite hit the Omega standard of 400 damage for 2 bars spent, but I'm really close. In the corner you get Light Dawn Retsuken, plus some other stuff I'll mention later. Dan's other new special is Saikyo Tenjin Sai. The motion is 360 plus kick. It's a command grab. If you want some cool trivia, this animation has been in the game's code since vanilla, and it's likely they originally planned for Dan to have a command grab, but they chickened out pre-release. Do you guys think Dan would have been much stronger with a 360, or only barely stronger? Do you think his gameplay design would be better? I want to know. The light version seems to be the fastest, while the heavy version has the most range. Which works like Makoto, I guess. All versions have poor Oki, but they are real command grabs. The EX version does only 10 more damage, while it has the same range as the heavy one, and no invincibility of any kind. It's 5-frame startup, so at least it combines the best features of light and heavy versions. Dan's existing special moves are mostly the same. Fireball's almost identical, but it's a bit slower to start up, and will no longer combo from light normals. It does only 50 damage, when I think it did 70 in Ultra. And I don't see any compensation. Fireball FADC combos are a bit goofy. You really get too much pushback with Dan's normal, so it's not a great way to spend 2 bars most of the time. But EX Fireball FADC is still the best way to confirm Ultra 1. Dankyakus are a bit different. They have a new arc, which actually makes it really easy to lose hits. It's now possible to go over fireballs, but definitely pretty impractical. They're much more punishable. All versions are unsafe on block, including EX. You can still space the light one to be safe. They do the most damage of all of Dan's specials, and they still break armor, so they're not useless. But it definitely feels like a downgrade. The main upside is that EX Dan Kick now has juggle potential. This is huge for Omega Dan, who has lots of routes into it. EX Dan Kick is really important in general because it's the only ender for many of his strings. The EX Air Dan Kick actually functions like a dive kick. And it travels forward even on a back jump. So it's really good. It does the same damage as the ground EX one, but it's plus on block. The uppercut is mostly unchanged. The light and medium versions have a bit more horizontal range, I think, and they go farther than the heavy one. All versions seem to have more invincibility. There's one big gimmick with this move. If you do the down towards input, the 3 input, on the same frame as the punch, you get a unique version. Same input as an Electric Wind God Fist in Tekken, I guess. All versions do the same damage. Light is the fastest, heavy has the most range. All versions have total invincibility and more range than the non-just frame versions, but they're also slower. There is no EX just frame DP. If you input one with EX, you just get medium or heavy. They're much safer on block than the normal versions. Also, they can be FADC'd even on block, unlike all other invincible DPs in Omega. The big kicker, as I'm sure you've noticed, is that they're all meterless launchers. All versions go into medium Donretsuken. As well as EX Dankyaku, Super, or even Ultra 2. You can actually do 2 of them in a row. Or even 3. The meterless damage here is good. Omega Dan has a really high skill ceiling, and it's pretty rewarding if you can hit it. Basically, all of Dan's optimal B&Bs have one or several of these. Dan's super is now double quarter circle back punch. This is better because there's no input overlap with DP, which helps with cancel consistency since there's no crouching DP motion in Omega. It does make it harder to go into super from Godoken or Koryuken. On block, the super ends early and the final hit has massive blocks done. It seems to be totally safe on block and uninterruptible the whole way through, which is very nice. This motion change also applies to Ultra 1. As for Taunt Super, you can use it to go from Donretsuken to either Ultra, I guess. But a regular Super cancel would do way more damage. I can detect no difference with Dan's Ultras besides maybe damage. He has a new meterless setup for Ultra 2, but apart from that, the setups appear to be identical for both. Dan's Donretsuken, including the launching version, made it into SF5. His normal strings are a bit similar too. The just frame uppercuts also made it in as his trigger too, though thankfully they're much easier in 5. However, the forward dash cancel normals, the command grab, meterless launchers, the dive kick, and the safe super just didn't make the cut. I guess they had to make him more reserved to match the rest of the game, and I actually think they did a really good job. They also did a much better job of integrating his taunts into gameplay, which SF4 mostly failed for both the Ultra and Omega versions.